Welcome into another edition of Building Brownstown. And today we are thrilled to be joined by Lance Evans, the venue designs director and principal at HKS. Lance, great to talk with you again. We talked with you a while ago when this was kind of a thought in the sky, getting the designs going. But now we know we are going ahead with the enclosed stadium, enclosed Huntington Bank Field in Brook Park. Great to be with you again. Hope all's been well since we last talked.
Yeah, good to see you again, Nathan. Yeah, everything's been fantastic and excited about the progress that we've been making in Northeast Ohio, and happy to be here with you today.
All right, let's go back for people who maybe didn't see our previous conversation. Your firm designed the great U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, SoFi Stadium, and many, many others. What did you learn from those projects that you're excited to implement here at Huntington Bank Field?
You know, each one of those, Nathan, venues that we've had a chance to work on really are about creating and crafting a one-on-one experience for those fan bases that were tied to their community and fabric, and creating one-on-one design, designs that couldn't exist anywhere else in the world. And I think what we're most proud of is those venues consistently rank in the top 5 as it relates to fan experiences in the league. And I think what we've learned there, and that we're continuing in and pulling the best of those projects forward into the new Huntington Bank Field, is really about how to amplify that fan experience, how to put it number one. If you design for the experience on the inside, you do it in an authentic way that really resonates with a fan base. That's what's going to create something lasting and memorable and really just energetic and powerful for the region.
All right, so you talked about two things there, and we're going to get into, this about the region and then that fan experience. We're going to come back to that, but this is the same that's going to transform this region in terms of the opportunities it's going to bring to this region, the economic impact, all of it. When you say you want to factor that in design, so what are some of the things you think that make a unique and lasting kind of representative of Northeast Ohio in the new enclosed Huntington Bank Field?
Yeah, Nathan, our design philosophy really starts with conversations and research about how to embody the character of Northeast Ohio. How do we take its grit, its fortitude, its architectural lineage, the use of authentic materials and expressive forms, and to create an architecture that really, talks about celebrating the legacy of the Browns, but boldly projecting that brand forward, into today and into the future. We're talking about really a design that anchors a thriving mixed-use development around here, a new neighborhood in the community. And at the end of the day, our goal is that we set a new bar for fan experience in the league. Something that takes an unexpected approach to the way fans interact with the game, and sound and energy and life really around the idea of entertainment in the region.
All right, so with that in mind, you mentioned fan experience. What are some of the innovations that fans can expect to see at the new enclosed Huntington Bank Field that will make the game day experience better for fans and address some of the issues that our current stadium has for fans?
Yeah, I mean, it really starts for us with designing the venue before you get into the venue with the mixed-use district. The stadium features 2 anchored fan plazas at both end zones. And what we've done is we've increased the ticketed zone of a fan. So once you enter that plaza, you're a ticketed guest into the concourse, and you're free to roam around the stadium grounds. And so we've taken that idea of all that congestion that fans experience now in the current venue. We've really dispersed that and to create an entertainment experience before you even walk in the door, which we think is going to really elevate the game day, kind of notion for what the fans are receiving. Tied into those plaza is the notion of the grand concourse. And I think once you get into the building and you're greeted with this majestic concourse, really expansive and open, it's the largest concourse in the league. I'm talking about coming from the side of the river to this. It really will be quite a different experience, a cultural destination that's anchored with food markets, fast casual restaurants, a connected team store, unique moments to connect with the brand and tie into the action. And this is really something that we've tried to do, is really separate, not create any separations between the fans in the game and when they want to go back and get their favorite concession. So you're always going to be connected to the sound, the energy, the atmosphere of that game day. You're not going to miss anything, when you're coming into the new Huntington Bank Field. And then as you come into the stadium, I think the other thing that's really kind of cool about our design is we've continued our conversations with the Haslams about how to enhance what the fans are going to get here at the game, and how do we make it something really bold and memorable. The idea of unique video activation throughout. So our plazas that are mentioned are anchored by large video screens that will be able to project entertainment in the game, both during the football game, both pregame and postgame. When you go into the stadium, you're greeted by two really large video elements on the end zones. One situated low in the seating bowl, really hugging and integrated into that environment, and a really large video board that hovers above our new Dawg Pound in the stadium. And I think you start to tie in, Nathan, the plaza, the grand concourse, and that video activation into kind of a holistic new experience on game day. It's going to be unrivaled.
It's so exciting. And I know we've seen the models and everybody's like, wow, this is incredible. And one of the things that I think ties into that is that, yes, you're going to be indoors, you're going to be away from the elements, but because of the roof, you're still going to have the sunlight. You're still going to feel like you're outdoors, but you're just going to be temperature controlled and comfortable, which is great, away, free from the elements. So a lot of people want to know about that roof. Tell us about the beautiful roof, what it's made of, and how you guys came up with those unique angles in that design.
Yeah, the overall design was really inspired by the great kind of glass roofed indoor rooms in Cleveland. The arcade, the Museum of Art, the Rock Hall of Fame. All you've kind of, as you experience the city, you have these great moments. And as we were starting to understand the city, understand the team, and thinking about what the space wanted to feel like inside the stadium, we couldn't help but think about, well, what if we did that at the scale of a stadium, and the magnitude of it, the grandness of it. So we took that inspiration. It was really also born out of the climate of the region. So the geometry, the folded plate nature of it, the simple pitched roof was all about how to create an appropriate design for the harsh winters that you get in Cleveland, but it also creates a unique architectural identity tied with it. The third thing that we needed the roof to do was to amplify the sound of the game, and so all those angles that you see in the design, the way that the clear roof material works with the other surfaces in the stadium, were all tuned, almost like a amplifier, if you will, for the fan noise coming down into the stadium. It's something we learned, from US Bank, and we brought that forward here in Cleveland, and we're pretty sure that it's going to be one of the loudest venues in the league when this thing opens.
That's awesome. And you mentioned earlier the new Dawg Pound. I'm sure that's where a lot of that sound's going to be coming from. I know people are very excited about the notion of that one wall for the Dawg Pound. Just give us all the background you can about what this Dawg Pound is going to be, what it's going to be like to be somebody who's in that area, and what comes along with, being in the Dawg Pound.
Yeah, so I think if you come off that main plaza, as I mentioned, when you come through the doors, the first thing you're greeted with is the wall, of that Dawg Pound. It really is the heart of the fan base, and it was the start of our design. From this, we have over 6,000 fans connected, that it connects right from the field level all the way up to the grand concourse in a singular rake. There's standing rail seats there, so that allows us to bring the fans closer to the action, allow the fans and the players to interact like they do in just enhanced ways, in the Dawg Pound. All that sound too is going to be, brought forward into the design. And I think another really great moment, I mentioned this before, was at the top of the Dawg Pound, hovering above it, is a large video board, and that acts kind of as a member of the Dawg Pound in itself. So as you think of a Browns player coming in celebrating a touchdown, as they leap into the stands, and the shots of the energy and the fandom coming up, and that video element kind of celebrating that victory, or as an opposing player coming down and trying to score on that zone, good luck, with all that sound, and and energy and atmosphere coming in there. I think from a fan's perspective, if you're lucky enough to be one of those fans that are sitting in the Dawg Pound section, you have your own dedicated food and beverage amenities that are just for those hardcore fans. At the Dawg Pound, really celebrating not only what that fandom does for the community, but the atmosphere that they bring into the game day. And that's something that the Haslam's are really expressed to us as important from day one, is to for us to, in the design, to celebrate exactly what the Dawg Pound means to the organization and the players, and ultimately the intensity of the venue itself.
That's awesome. This is the 40th anniversary of the Dawg Pound XL. And so to hear that is going to carry forward into the future, obviously, is incredibly exciting. Just want to kind of tie things up on this, because I know everybody's excited about this. You guys are the best in the world at what you do. This is going to be the best stadium in the world, certainly for a period of time. Are there any other kind of maybe design elements that we didn't touch on that, you're excited about, that you want people to know about?
Yeah. There's Nathan, could go on for hours on this podcast talking about this, but, I think what's really important for us from a fan's perspective, we have some great amenities in and around the Grand Concourse and distributed throughout the seating bowl. We call them bowl facing bars, but think about the best sports bar in all of sports, distributed along the Grand Concourse, right at the edge of the seating bowl. So you're looking, grabbing your favorite beer, looking over your shoulder, and there's the NFL game. The venue is also ultimate transformer. It's going to be able to scale from 5,000 seats all the way up to, the Super Bowl atmosphere, the 70 plus and the concert. So the idea of this being the ultimate transformer is something that is really unique for this venue, and makes sure that, it is a destination for all of Northeast Ohio. And then the last thing I think it's really important is we're designing for all the seasons. We want this to be really special in winter, and so we're designing like almost a winter wonderland out here with our plazas and the notion of coming to a game day, but celebrating the summer and the spring and the fall. I think our design has the ability to change, with the seasons and give fans something really unique.
Well, Lance, I mean, I'm giddy. I can't wait for it. I'm sure you can't wait to see this design come to life as we start breaking ground and getting this thing ready for the 2029 season. But really appreciate the time. And again, Lance Evans, Venue Designs Director and Principal at HKS, thanks for being with us. And we can't wait to see your vision for the enclosed Huntington Bank Field in Brook Park to come to life. So thanks for the time. And you got us all excited, that's for sure.
Yeah, good talking to you, Nathan.